Hello, and welcome to my dining room. This is episode 20 of the Live and Learn Knitting Podcast. My name is Anne, or Annie, and I'm coming to you from the banks of the Mississippi River in western Wisconsin. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, 2024, and this is a podcast about living and learning about knitting, learning about other creative endeavors, and learning a little bit about life. So this morning, the windows are open. It's going to be very hot today, and I say high 80s and humidity because we had a big storm come through yesterday and dump a lot of rain. And so when it heats up, that's gonna give us some good humidity. So I've got the windows open well. I can get a nice breeze coming through. And that might add to some of the background noise. I hope you can hear that lovely bird singing. I'm sorry if the trash trucks go by and you hear that. It is Tuesday and it's trash pickup day. And I thought about making a sign that said audio difficulties and holding it up when the trucks come by, or any loud vehicles or dog barking or anything like that. But just imagine. Anyway. What this podcast is about, it is living, life experiences, and learning about knitting, learning about other crafts, what I learned throughout the process, and because sometimes a written pattern or a way of doing something, there's many ways to do the same thing, and I think we all need to find what's comfortable for us, what works best for the project we're working on at the moment. Just what makes something easier, what makes it more aesthetically pleasing if possible. So learning about all kinds of things, techniques, color sense, fiber choices. We'll talk about that a little bit today. Everything, and not just in knitting. Sometimes there will be other things. Might talk briefly at the end about something non-knitting. So that's what it's about. And if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for liking and subscribing if you have, and please do if you will. And I want to just briefly talk about there have been a lot of ads popping up in my videos. A friend asked me about that yesterday, and she said, I'm watching the podcast and it's just ad after ad after ad. And I noticed that with one episode, an older one that I rewatched last week, just to refresh my memory about what I talked about. And it was just an ad every few minutes, and I was very frustrated with that. And I'll say right now that I am nowhere near the level of, activity, subscribers or views or anything that gets me any monetary compensation from YouTube, at least, not now. And so I'm really kind of frustrated with why they're sticking in so many ads. I don't know. I don't know if it's a phase with them, or if because they're not having to compensate me, they can put more ads in and kind of run for free on me. I don't know. And I might try to dig deeper into that, but maybe not. I've got more fun things to do. So we'll talk, and if there's an ad, you're just gonna have to click past it, and I apologize for that on behalf of YouTube, which is weird because anyway, that's just the method I use to get out into the world, and which is weird because I'm not an out into the world person either. So at any rate, now Gracie's down here making some grumpies. So that's what the show's about. That's the little intro today. Yep. Oh, one other thing. I don't know if you noticed. Well, plants are gone. Almost all the plants are gone. The big orange tree's gone. The big ficus from right behind me is gone. They're all outside. living life and they're rejuvenating themselves because they come in here for winter, and by spring they're just like, oh, get us out of here, please. So yeah, and I hate to say it, but I actually kind of like it when it's more open and not so many plants. It's nice in the wintertime to see all the green, for sure. But this gives me this whole table down here back that I can sit and eat at if I want to, work at. And I'll share with you at the end. Well, I'll share it now. Okay. Summertime seems to take me back to childhood more than any other season. And I'm not sure why. I guess because it was just such a relaxing time and fun, and, worked hard, played hard, was outside a lot. But I can remember on, summer days we'd be outside playing, and just like yesterday, a shower comes through, it's nice afternoon thunderstorm, and the house I grew up in had big windows like this in what was a back sun porch, which we turned into a kitchen eventually. And so we had a big table sitting by those windows, and we would play games at that table and play, cards in the evening. We had a light that would come down over it, and, so we'd sit there. It was by the open window getting the breeze. And on those rainy afternoons, I would sit at the open window and watch the rainfall, feel, just that wonderful fresh rain smell. And I would sit with my crayons and coloring books, and we'd color. We'd do puzzles, we'd do other things. I probably sewed a lot of yo-yos at that table, if you remember from last episode. Do embroidery, those kinds of things. But I do remember coloring with the coloring books. So, sitting on that table over there are my old box of old crayons and some old coloring books that I gathered together. And yeah, I did sit there the other day when it was raining, and I did a little bit of coloring, just really, maybe 20 minutes. It was a nice, relaxing thing to do. I don't have children, or of course, then I don't have grandchildren or anything. And I think sometimes as adults, we think, oh, that's kiddish. But then you got kids or grandkids, and you can still do that activity and get away with enjoying it because you've got, oh, I'm doing it because I'm helping the kids, Well, I'm doing it because I want to do it. So that's my excuse. And yeah, it was very pleasant. And yeah, they're going to sit there all summer. And when there's a nice rainy afternoon, and I can open the windows and listen to the rain, it's just a nice remembrance for me of, happy summer afternoons. So I can also remember sitting outside, since it was summertime and school was out. My mom would get me, this cat down here is doing amazing acrobatics, would get me little activity books for the summer, for sure math ones, and word game ones and that kind of thing. And I would sit outside in the grass, just lay in the grass and do those activity books. And that's another, not that I'm gonna go and I should get some math activity books. But a little more advanced than elementary school. But yeah, just sitting in the grass and doing activity like that was very pleasant. That was another pleasant one. There are many pleasant summer memories for me. So, of doing things on little to no money. We were not a go everywhere, see all the sights, pay all the fees, and ride all the rides kind of family. No, we just made our own fun. I think I've mentioned that before. Very frugal upbringing, and that kind of continues to today. Simple pleasures. With that being said, there was just a little bit of living since the last episode, which of course I went to the graduation party and gave Ava the mitts that I made that you saw in the last episode, and she really liked them. And it was a very relaxing, pleasant party to go to. Good conversations and visits with several people. Yeah, and just a very nice evening. And right before that, I met a friend who came up from Iowa, and we got together and had sort of a light supper, appetizer, drink, and had a good visit. And I am going to be knitting the Pravda pullover for her. You can go back to one of the December episodes where I'm sitting in front of the Christmas tree and I've got the Pravda sweater on. Not sure which episode that was. It's back in the back. Christmas. Was it this one? Yeah, episode 8. There you go. So if you want to see the Pravda, she saw it. She's like, oh my gosh, can you make that sweater for me? And yeah, sure, I can. And I've done the swatch, and I took her made her a little postage stamp size swatch of the yarn so that she could touch it, because it's very nice. It's the original Pravda I made in the actual yarn it called for, which was Harriet from Juniper Moon. And it's very heavy alpaca, baby alpaca sweater. It's very heavy. So the yarn I got for her sweater in the colors she wanted, we'll show it in a future episode, is Wonderfluff from Knit Picks, and it's a wool baby alpaca nylon blend, and the nylon is like the core, it's core spun, and then the fibers are blown into it. It's light as a feather, and it's soft, and it's plush and luscious, and yeah, this swatch was very enjoyable to make. So that's the future. But I got a chance to get all her measurements and everything. And so now there's no reason not to start, except for the dozens and dozens of other UFOs that are saying, finish me now. Yeah. So that's the living. We'll get on to today's episode, which is called Gentle Rain. And that's this sweater. And I think I mentioned this in a past episode also of what I'm working on. This is I did a test knit for Tellybean Knits, Stephanie Lotvin. Stephanie is in Bloomington, and I thought it was Bloomington, Minnesota, but I believe it's Bloomington, Indiana. But she is a designer who loves color, and so here's her example, Gentle Rain. And let's see, there's another page with some photos on in here. I printed, yeah, this is available now on Ravelry. I am very sorry, Stephanie, that I didn't finish by the deadline. I was almost done. I had a bit of this, I had a sleeve left and like maybe 3 inches of the bottom left to do the color pattern at the bottom to finish. And I got sidetracked with other things and just didn't finish it. And I find that so I'm past the deadline. She did release the pattern. I need to update my Ravelry information on it and get that out into the world. But yeah, it's just a wonderful pattern. I'll stand up. So it's a round yoke pullover, top down construction. This is the body, and I will tilt the camera a little bit so you can see the waistband, has got the beautiful pattern at the bottom, and it's there now. Let me see if I can get this back in line. So it's very comfortable. So short sleeve, of course, since it's top down, could go long sleeve if you want, or any sleeve length you want at all. Oh, that's very crooked. There, that might be a little better. So I made mine in Knit Picks Dos Tierras. The pattern called for a DK weight yarn, and let me see if I can, the gauge is 22 stitches for 4 inches, so 4.5 stitches per inch. It does call for, yeah, a DK weight yarn. I knit the size 5. She's got 10 sizes, which range from, she's got a lovely chart here, the schematic of all the measurements and everything. So she has, her samples are knit with, she's showing 2 samples. She size 3 with 4 inches of positive ease and a size 7 with 6 inches of positive ease. And hers was also a more cropped sweater. Mine, I did maybe a few more repeats, so I didn't really want it cropped. But I didn't want it to be a tunic either. So I sort of, and I wasn't sure how much this would grow, since it's, Dos Tiras is a combination of 50% merino and 50% alpaca. So I thought, well, maybe with the alpaca, it might grow, a bit. So we'll see. So I did the size 5, which is for a 48-inch, a finished measurement of a 48-inch bust. I have 46, and actually, my bust is 46. This belly bit is also 46. So I want to always make sure that, you're supposed to measure for the largest part of you. And for me, that's hips, but it doesn't quite, it goes like right above hip line. So, that part wasn't really an issue, but yeah, I for sure wanted it to not pull across belly or anything like that. And I'm still trying to redo some, I'm about 2/3 the way to where I want to end up as far as weight goes, and we'll get there. I was stuck. Right now I'm kind of moving again, so that's good forward progress. So anyway, yeah, so she recommends some generous ease if you like that. I think everybody kind of did the ease that they were in the test knit that they were comfortable with. And when I measured this, when I laid it out to block it, and I'm patting it all down, on the blanket, and I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, that's really that's really wide. Oh, that looks so wide. That's going to be huge. It's going to be just so much. Well, I put the measuring stick across the chest at the underarms, 24 inches. So 48-inch chest. I couldn't believe it was spot on. I mean, that's good. That's what we want, right? We want our knitting to end up, but that doesn't happen all that often, 100% of the time, right on the dot, 48 inches. So yeah, I was happy with that. And I don't know. I don't know if she told what yarn she used. She said Lavender Loon yarn, or Luna yarn company, DK Superwash Merino is what she used. So she did use a merino, but doesn't that sort of look like a cottony? Well, what about a wool cotton blend for summer to put that in? I imagine, more of a cotton, more of a lighter weight if for summer, if you're going to have the short sleeves. This is, I think it would be very comfortable as a summer sweater, or a short sleeve as like an early fall sweater, maybe September, when it's cool, but yet it's still nice, it still warms it up enough that you could have short sleeves. So I said, everybody's looking at, and because these colors are more fall, rusty kind of colors, they said, well, aren't you going to make it long sleeved? And I thought, well, I did this for the test knit, and I don't think I'll wear it too much this summer, because today it's hot. I mean, I'm feeling like this isn't comfortable, really, because it's hot. But maybe, a late fall, or an early fall, late spring sweater, I'm sure it would be fine for that and feel really good. And of course it would feel good in air conditioning, in the summertime. It wouldn't feel bad at all. But I'm going to see if I wear it a time or two more during the summer or the early fall, and then maybe over winter I will take it apart, take this much off the sleeve, the pattern, and then knit a longer sleeve. And I might even just go, a 3/4 sleeve or something like that. We'll see. Or longer, we'll see. The sleeve is actually, and she's got so many good suggestions in here on how to change your sleeve size if you need it for, to measure your bicep. That's one of the measurements that she's got in her chart here, bicep measurement. So how to adjust for that, which would be taking some stitches from the body, especially if you're doing generous ease, and putting them on the sleeve when you separate for sleeves. A lot of information on how to make the yoke the depth that you want. And I know when we were doing the test, a lot of the sizes, and myself included, were saying that the yoke depth was not long enough. And so she adjusted for that in the pattern and made notes on how to take care of that. And she did suggest to us, why don't you just block the yoke and see if it, increases in length any. And I didn't do that. And just because I just didn't want to put the needles and all that in the water and have part of the sweater blocked and part of it unblocked. That was just me. I probably, maybe I should have tried it. Maybe I should have listened to Stephanie and tried it. Although I did add, I think I added 1.5 repeats before I split for sleeves. And now that does seem to be a bit, like, after fact, could I have, gone up a little bit? Perhaps. But if it's going to be, sort of an oversized sweater, I don't think that is a terrible drop. I mean, it's, sometimes with the round yoke sweaters, this yoke pattern gets so low that, yeah, your sleeve opening is, way down, and that's uncomfortable for me. And that's, that's another reason why I didn't want to do any addition up here, because I think this fell in, I wouldn't want this to be any lower here. I think it falls just right at the right place. So yeah, so she's got suggestions on there on how to change the yoke depth if needed. She suggests doing German short rows for the, I was just looking to see if I had it on backwards. I don't. I don't think I do. I do. I took it off. Oh, I took it off to, why did I take it off this morning? Let me just turn my sweater around for you. Yep. Let me put it on forwards. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? I can believe it. This is me. Okay, there. How about that? That's the front of the sweater. I mean, there's just can you see now that the first raindrop, these are raindrops. They're not, in the Scandinavian sweaters, they call them loose, L-J-U-S, or lice. And they were just added for extra warmth for the sweaters. But yeah, can you see now how those are higher up to the neckline? Oh, I can't believe I did that, had it on backwards. So there, looks the same, doesn't it? Yeah. So German short rows, I could have showed them to you. Oh golly. So she does tell you, how to do special techniques, how to do German short rows, and good information on how to create the double stitch and resolve the double stitch, and yeah, putting markers in, which I do with German short rows because it does help me. And that's one of the reasons why I really like to prefer them over the Japanese, because you don't have to worry about the wrap and turn. I'm always a little confused about where to put that, or how to count that. So I prefer the German, but you can use whichever short row method you like, of course. And then she had the lifted increases, which, lifted increases, slip knits and knit together. She's got, the techniques spelled out. Good charts for all the individual sizes. The directions, since there are 10 sizes. You know, there's a lot of directions, and I did make sure I went through and, you know, circled my size and all that. I could have highlighted it too. So sometimes, you know, there might be a whole page that you don't have to look at because it's not your size. So, and it kind of jumps back and forth, like yoke division, body, sleeves, and you've got charts for yokes, charts for sleeves, the hemming. But very, very fun to do, and very fun colors to work with. These were all stash yarns, which was one reason why I was glad to do this test knit, because I could use up some of my stash yarn. And yeah, and so this is Malabrigo Dos Tijeras. Yeah, it's 50% merino, 50% baby alpaca, 210 yards per 100 grams, which that's really almost a worsted weight, but it's, you know, it's a maybe a heavier DK. Well, it's DK, but I know, like, you know, worsted weight is about 220 to 240 for 100 grams. 220, because that's why Cascade 220 is called Cascade 220, because it's 220 yards for 100 grams, and that's their worsted weight. But this is spun, of course, a little tighter, and you know, Dos Tijeras, that stands for 2 rivers, and the yarn itself is, I don't know if you could, yeah, see that. It's 2 plies of yarn, but then if you take it apart, each ply is 2 plies. So that's how they make Dos Tijeras. So it's a tightly spun yarn. And that makes it, you know, with the alpaca and that, it makes it a bit heavy. But it's very springy also. It's very, well, that's a skein. The yarn it's very springy. Can you, it's stretchy. And I kind of find the stretchy yarn like that is very pleasant to knit with. So it used, for my size 5, I used part of a 3rd skein of the gold, the sunset color, and then 1 skein of the cereza, the red, 1 skein of the teal feather, and yeah, of course, 1 skein of the lettuce, the green. I only had this much of the teal feather left in my ball, and I thought, well, if I want to make long sleeves this winter, I will run out of this, and that could be a problem. So I went on Ravelry and found a very nice knitter who had 1 skein in her stash that she was selling. So we communicated, and I bought this from her, plus 2 skeins of a Dovestone DK, because it was, what did she say? If I bought 3 skeins, it would be free shipping or something. So she had this Dovestone DK in a nice berry shade, and I have Dovestone DK in a light brown color upstairs. So I thought, well, there, I could get that and, you know, maybe do some contrast. And it's a sweater's quantity of yarn that I have upstairs. So now I have some contrast color to go with that for a future project. So yeah, so I've got now the yarn I can use to make my sleeves longer if I want to this winter. Trying to think if there's anything else to say about this lovely pattern. Stephanie she's just a whiz with color design, and she likes to do bright colors. She's got a book called Knit Happy, I believe that's what it's called. And it's all these colorful, how to use the multicolored sock yarn and that to its advantage, you know, to put that into other projects that aren't socks. So she has one pattern called, I think it's called Sleeves, where the main parts of the sweater are solid color yarns, and you might do some color blocking, but then the sleeves are that like color changing sock yarn, and so they're highlighted, and it's really fun. So it was a good test knit, and I'm happy with this sweater, especially now that I have it on frontwards. It's very comfortable. One thing, you know, round yoke sweaters, of course, you're increasing evenly all around. So when it was on the needles and when I took it off the needles, of course, it's I don't want to say bulging, but, you know, sort of puckering all where your increases are. And, you know, our bodies, I mean, I don't have a prominent chest. So it's flatter. So I don't need that to pucker here. But when I laid it out to block it, it all blocked out nice and flat. But I do think, you know, like a raglan sleeve or something that does make, you know, so that there aren't increases across the chest, maybe fits me better. But with this, so I'm always a little cautious of round yokes, especially with their rates of increase. You know, if it's too severe, that you kind of can get that puckering. And, you know, you can see it just a teeny tiny, but it's not bad. And look, ta-da, it's flat, you know, so it's good. And I mean, that's just kind of how a sweater lays anyway. So it's fine. It's yeah. And this is only the first wearing, first washing. So it'll just keep getting more and more comfortable as time goes on. Yeah. So this is going to be a short episode today because it's summer. And this is sort of how I really wanted the episodes to be, short and sweet. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and I won't say I haven't. There are a couple days in the last few weeks where I didn't knit at all. I've been doing other things, a lot of gardening, a lot of yard work, and doing a bit of reading, trying to do a bit of cleaning. If you can see behind, I'm really behind in my getting ready for summer. There's the screens back there. These windows, I have 6 windows in this room that size. And so 3 of them have screens on and got washed and got the screens put up. So 3 more to go. And I thought, Anne, you're just going to put your screens up and then you'll turn the air conditioning on. And that could happen today. I'm not sure. It's nice and sunny outside right now, but it's still very wet from all the rain. So I don't know if I'm going to work outside. By the time all that dries off this afternoon, it's going to be beastly hot. Well, like I said, 87 or 89 or something like that today. And do I want to go out and work in that? I should do something out there. Today is like a day to get hot and sweaty and dirty and then get cleaned up, and I'm going to go see some friends tomorrow for lunch. So, yeah, I should go out there, but I also should work in the house too and like get those screens put up. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other screens in the other part of the house that need to be put up still. It's a lot of work all the time. And it's okay, it's fine work, but somebody has to do it. So we can't be knitting all the time. Oh, but the other thing, and I don't have it handy and I'm not going to run get it. I did, I guess it came last week or a week before. I ordered a drum carder because Andrea Mowry makes drum carding, makes making all these bats look so much fun, and like that's really going to be the answer to my spinning problem, right? Well, we'll see. It did. I played with it a little bit, and I used some of my icky fiber with second cuts and everything in it, and yeah, I made a bat, and it was like, oh, that's hideous, and you can see all these little neps and stuff in it, and yeah, that's just going to be used for dryer balls or stuffing or something, I'm not sure. But then I took one of the braids that I had and I took it apart and ran it through the drum carder, and it just turned out so beautiful, light and lofty, and you can still see color, you know, the color combinations in it. So I played with that just a little bit. So I would like to do some more spinning this summer, perhaps. And yeah, work with those bats a little more and card up. Also, another reason why I got the drum carder was because I do have a bunch of fiber raw fleece to wash and process, and all the locks, get all that open. So I thought, well, it'll just be, hand cards are great, but to do it for very long with a lot of fiber, it's hard on my wrists. And I had some problems. I don't remember if I spoke about that last year, but I had some problems with the muscle here in my hand. So I need to just, pick and choose how I want to use these hands. So drum carder was, this is a lot easier to do than this. Yeah. So that's my other new activity, is doing some drum carding. And I really want to get going on some sewing. Summer always seems like a good time. I sewed a lot during the summer when I was growing up and, in high school and in college. I would just, patterns and summer dresses, summer skirts, which I wish I still had a few of those summer skirts, and they might be in a box in the basement. I know that there might be fabric. I don't think I have the pattern anymore, but it was just a very simple elastic waist skirt with 2 pockets. I made a half a dozen of them in different prints. And so I do have a non-knitting project that might be the next episode if I get my act together. We'll see. Or it might be a 2-part episode, a before and after sewing hack kind of a thing. Upcycling. I hate to say upcycling. Reworking is maybe a better word for this. Anyway, that's the future. Today. We didn't have a garbage truck go by. That's nice. So before we do, I'm gonna stop this. Oh, the one last non-knitting, what I'm gonna be up to. The swimming pool, our municipal pool, opens this weekend, and it was delayed. They did a bunch of repairs on it last fall, so they had to have it repainted this spring, and weather conditions just weren't right to get that done, and they took their time and did it right, and that's a good thing. So the pool opens this weekend, and I'm really going to try this summer to not have that wear me out. I love the pool. I love to swim. I swim really bad, really, really poorly, but I'd love to do it. And I have a feeling once I get in the water, I'm going to just go, oh yeah, and I want to spend all my time there. But then when I do, I come home and I don't want to do anything else, So my yard work kind of declines. My housework sort of declines, I just relax the rest of the day because you feel so relaxed when you get out of the pool. And, I bike there and back, and so there's a bike ride too, and it's a lot of activity. And I'm looking forward to it, but yeah, I don't want it to take up all my time. So again, just trying to find that happy medium between everything I want to do and how to find more energy. And I think, slow but sure, we get there. I'll get there, and I'll know my own limits, I guess, if I don't. But I don't have limited thinking. I'm not stuck. We'll find a way to make it all work. Good critical thinking there. So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful summer afternoon, summer day, or whenever you're watching this, in the future. Watch it in January. Yeah. Anyway, so I hope you have a great, enjoyable rest of the week. This is early in the week for me, or late, however you want to look at it. But it's just this, it's always nice when the sun is shining, and it makes everything better. And if the sun isn't shining outside, then we have to bring the sunshine ourselves, right? So I hope you can do that, and that your projects are making you happy, and just take care and be well and enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye.